Egypt's EDEX 2021 Defence Exhibition draws close, we thought we'd briefly look at some of what the Egyptian Air Force has been getting up to this year. The year began with the Skyross 2021 exercise with the French Armée de l'Air et de l'Espace, and we then saw more work with the French in May in Ramesses 2021. Then in August, the United Arab Emirates and Egypt conducted the Zayed III air exercise at Abu Dhabi's Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE. Most recently, there has been the latest instalment in the Bright Star series of exercises.
So stay tuned for some footage from some of these exercises and also for some analysis and insight.
I'm Angie B.
And I'm John Lake. Hello and welcome to A2&i.
The commander of the Egyptian Air Force, Mohammed Abbas Helmi, has stressed the importance of multinational exercises, pointing out that what he called friendly countries have participated in many joint exercises inside and outside Egypt in order to further acquire and exchange experiences and skills. Exercises with the French Armée de l'Air et de l'Espace, a fellow operator of both the Rafale and the Mirage 2000, dominated the Egyptian Air Force exercise calendar this year. Egypt was a stop on the Skyross 2021 exercise itinerary, with French Rafales visiting the Jebel El Basser Air Base, which is the home of the Egyptian Rafales, and that was in February this year. We have this Egyptian MOD video from Skyross.
From the 20th of January through to the 5th of February this year, 4 French Air Force Rafales, supported by 2 A400M transport aircraft and by an A330 Phoenix tanker, undertook a long-range power projection exercise. The exercise saw them flying a 14,000-kilometre tour through Djibouti, India, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt and Greece, before finally returning to metropolitan France. The Skyross exercise saw French aviators flying together with 3 Rafale customers, India, Egypt and Greece. The French Rafales also flew with the Air Force of what was referred to in one report as a potential new customer, meaning the United Arab Emirates. Now here at A2&i, we think that's a bit of an ambitious claim, but there you go. These 4 countries have each had a long association with French-built combat aircraft, and all 4 maintain friendly relations with France. Interestingly, all 4 also operate the Rafale's predecessor, the Mirage 2000. The exercise gave the newer Rafale operators a really useful opportunity to see the tactics and doctrine used by the aircraft's most long-established customer, the French Armée de l'Air. For the French, Skyross represented a useful building block on the way to being able to fulfil a long-held ambition. That ambition to project a Rafale squadron all the way to Australia in just 2 days. Although that goal has not yet been achieved, French officers believe that with the arrival of the A400M and the Phoenix, it will soon be possible. This Egyptian Air Force video is an extremely interesting watch, and it provided us with some useful clues about the weapons supplied for and used by the Rafale. When Egypt purchased its first batch of 24 Rafales, France withheld the sale of the MBDA Meteor, the Rafale's primary long-range air-to-air weapon. Meteor was withheld because it incorporates some US-supplied ITAR-controlled technology. Pierre Tran, writing for Second Line of Defence, stated that this restriction was imposed by the USA in response to what he called a request from Israel. In April 29, however, French newspaper La Tribune reported that the US had already lifted its objection to the sale of the Meteor to Egypt, and there's been speculation aplenty that this may have been a factor behind Egypt's subsequent purchase of a second batch of 30 more Rafales. During the exercise, one of the Egyptian Rafales was displayed in a hangar with an array of weapons laid out in front of it. a scene featured briefly in this video and also in an officially released photograph. The Meteor was conspicuously absent from this display of Rafale's firepower, perhaps suggesting that the weapon has not yet been integrated or that it hasn't yet been delivered to Egypt. Instead, both variants of the French Mika missile were on show. The aircraft was, however, fitted with a Thales Talios targeting pod, and in the middle of a row of Safran AASM, Hammer, that's the modular precision-guided munition used by the Rafale, there stood a single Scalp cruise missile. This was really unexpected. The Scalp had reportedly been one of the weapons that Egypt ordered for its initial batch of Rafales, but again, according to the French paper La Tribune, the USA blocked the sale, as the Scalp includes US-controlled technology and also, more importantly perhaps, it contravenes the Missile Technology Control Regime, MTCR, agreement. Now, MTCR is not a formal treaty, but rather it's an informal political understanding among 35 member states, including France. It seeks to limit the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction by controlling the export of potential delivery systems, other than manned aircraft. That stable door, too late to bolt that. It places particular emphasis on a particular class of missile, especially cruise missile, and unmanned aerial vehicle. That's to say, those that are capable of delivering a payload of at least 500 kilograms, 1,100 pounds in old money, to a range of at least 300 kilometres. That's 190 miles. Now, this effectively prohibits the export of weapons in this class by any MTCR signatory, and indeed to any MTCR signatory. And Scalp, as a member of a whole family of cruise missiles that also includes the British Storm Shadow, sits firmly within this category. Scalp hefts its payload, including a brooch warhead weighing in at more than 450 kilograms, and it hefts it more than 300 kilometres. So it would be interesting to see whether the range of an Egyptian Scalp has been artificially constrained and reduced to below that MTCR threshold limit of 300 kilometres. This is what was done to allow export of the Black Shaheen variant to the UAE, and perhaps also to the Storm Shadow missiles currently used by Saudi Arabia.
In May 2021, French Rafales again deployed to Egypt for the Ramesses 2021 exercise. This saw the Egyptian Air Force undertaking more joint exercises with the French, continuing what has become a series of Franco-Egyptian training exercises. In mid-August, the United Arab Emirates and Egypt began a 10-day joint air and naval exercise, known as Exercise Zayed III. Let's take a look.
The air exercise was hosted at Abu Dhabi's Al Dhafra Air Base. Al Dhafra is the home of 2 Emirati Mirage 2000 squadrons, and also houses 3 squadrons of F-16E Desert Falcons. The base played host to Rafales from Egypt's 203rd Tactical Fighter Wing, and also to aircraft drawn from an as yet unidentified Egyptian squadron operating the Block 40 version of the Lockheed Martin F-16C. The participating units practiced both defensive and offensive roles, and worked hard to enhance interoperability and also to improve their readiness for joint operations, building on the work done by the 2 air forces while operating together over Libya. The Egyptian Air Force is already used to working with Emirati Mirage 2000s, not least since the UAE has stationed some of its Mirage 2000s at Egypt's Sidi Barrani Air Base, not far from the Libyan border. And from there, they've been flying missions in support of General Haftar's Libyan National Army, the LNA, based in Tobruk, and against Haftar's rival, the internationally recognised Government of National Accord, the GNA, in Tripoli. The first stages of the Zayed III exercises included lectures and seminars intended to help unify doctrine and concepts of operations and to share the lessons arising from recent operational experience. The two air forces also carried out realistic operational training missions, and pilots were given experience flights in one another's aircraft. During the last phase of the exercise, the two air forces executed joint training sorties with the aim of enhancing their ability to manage joint air warfare missions. These appear to have included some missions with Emirati forward air controllers on the ground.
Footage from the highly polished Emirati video that you've just been watching was reused in a number of official Egyptian videos, but these also included some aspects of the Zayed III exercise that this film didn't show, including refuelling sorties with the UAE's A330 MRTT tankers and night missions. So let's take a look. The transformation of the Egyptian Air Force in recent years has been nothing short of remarkable. Isn't that true, John?
That's absolutely right. Nothing short of remarkable. A frontline element which once consisted of low block F-16s as the tip of its spear. You know, Block 30 F-16s, Block 40 F-16s were the best thing that Egypt had, and they were augmented by ageing MiG-21s, rather second-rate Chinese-built J-7s, really elderly Mirage 5s, some of which had been in service since the late 1960s, and a handful of much valued but thoroughly worn out Phantoms. That air arm now consists of state-of-the-art Rafales, bleeding-edge MiG-29 M2s, which will soon be augmented by a batch of 24 Su-35s, and if the reports of a forthcoming arms deal with Italy are correct, they might even get some Eurofighter Typhoons, and alongside those are a decent number of Block 50 F-16s. The older Block F-16s, the Block 30s, the Block 40s, that were once the tip of the spear, now merely provide mass. They're the cheap and cheerful, less good fighters, which augment the newer fighter types. And these aircraft are equipped with more capable weapons, importantly including beyond visual range air-to-air missiles, modern precision-guided munitions, and even standoff air-to-surface missiles and cruise missiles. And they're operated by an air force that has gained invaluable real-world operational experience, and one that's making real efforts to hone and refine its capabilities through exercises like these. And an air force that's learned new skills and has built new doctrine and new concepts of operations. Egypt signed a contract for its first 24 Rafales on the 16th of February 2015. Deliveries began with the arrival of some of that initial batch in Cairo on the 21st of July 2015, and the 24th and final aircraft in the batch was handed over to the Egyptian Air Force in July 2019. This initial batch of 24 Rafales is now to be bolstered by a new order for 30 more Rafales that was placed in May this year. This fleet of 54 Rafales, let's just stop there, 54 Rafales, more than India, more than Greece. That will make the Egyptian Air Force the second largest operator of the type in the world, after France itself. Well, I hope those glimpses of the Egyptian Air Force in action have whetted your appetite for EDEX, which is the only tri-service defence and security exhibition in North Africa.
And it's fully supported by the Egyptian Armed Forces, so maybe we'll see flypast by some of the pilots that we've been watching. After all, Egypt never loses an opportunity to show off its new Rafales, isn't that right, John?
Oh, that's absolutely right. They love the Rafale and they love showing it off.
According to organisers Clarion Events, this second edition of EDEX will provide a perfect platform for regional and international defence forces and exhibitors to showcase the latest technology, equipment and systems across land, sea and air. EDEX will run from the 29th of November until the 2nd of December and it will be held at the Egypt International Exhibition Centre, which is a brand new venue in Cairo. They are expecting more than 400 exhibitors, more than 30,000 industry visitors, and there will be a fully hosted international military VIP delegation programme.
I wonder what the facilities for the press are going to be like, Angie. I'm kind of wanting to go myself.
Good, I hope. I'm sure they will be, actually.
I'm sure they'll take care of us.
Well, it's that time again, so thanks for watching. Goodbye, do join us next time, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for regular updates.
So it's goodbye from me, and stay safe out there. And don't forget, don't just subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page as well. All of our links will follow right now.